great man of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I commend you that on the day after he passed on, you actually took time to inform the media that instead of writing headlines of non-issues, we should have had a headline with the late Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o as the one to be remembered. Actually, the following day it happened, and that was extremely good because Kenyans were able to recollect the lives and times of the late Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. It's always important to remember when he left the school, the Alliance High School, went to Makerere University for his studies that time, where he met the late Mwai Kibaki, who was supposed to be his lecturer. But instead, Kibaki advised him to do literature or Bachelor of Arts in English, as it was called that time, because he was not very good in economics, but he was extremely good in literature, in writing the written word, and he had the power of the gab. What we encourage our learners today, and especially those who are in school, it's not just to read the works of the late Ngugi wa Thiong'o, but to take a cue from him. Take time to learn writing skills so that after Ngugi wa Thiong'o, we are able to produce many more Ngugi wa Thiong'os who will tower Africa in the likes of Chinua Achebe and the rest in writing. Therefore, today, we eulogize a great man of the Republic of Kenya, the late Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you very much.
Mele Odhiambo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on my behalf and on behalf of the people of Suba North, we bring our message of condolences to the family of Ngugi wa Thiong'o and even to Kenya as a whole, because this is a loss to Kenya as a country. Mr. Speaker, when I was a young girl, I used to work at my uncle's bookshop. And even though I was very young, I would still struggle to read the difficult English. So just like you, I think I probably read all of them, even though I didn't understand many of them. But Mr. Speaker, one of the things that stood out for me is that I want to comment about is the River Between. And Mr. Speaker, you look at the River Between, you look at the influence of the British colonization through the eyes of Muthoni. Mr. Speaker, I want to specifically single out the way he dealt with the issue of feminism. Majority of the characters in that book are women that he exalts, and he shows them as fighting tyranny and exploitation. Mr. Speaker, he sees women as victims of African society and patriarchal system. And to liberate themselves, they endeavored to shatter the patriarchal obstacles and bring about change. Mr. Speaker, I would want to say that he was way ahead of time. There are some of the issues that we are now talking about, and we are giving name to, for instance, intersectionality. But he already dealt with issues that converge and bring women down, like the intersectionality of gender, race, and even ethnicity. And so, with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me this
Member for
opportunity.
Limuru.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance to eulogize one of our own, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. As I stand, Honorable Speaker, I speak of a man who I knew for the longest time in my life. I witnessed him writing the books, some of them that people have mentioned, but I have also witnessed a journey for him when he was being persecuted. I was there delivering a book written by Steve Biko to him in detention. I was at the University of Nairobi when we were told to remove all his books after detention, and I saw him off the first time he led out of this country. But Honorable Speaker, this is one person who was very good for the rest of the world, but it looks like there was a plan to make sure that Ngugi will never have a peace in his own country. We know that he was denied to teach at the University of Nairobi. He was not allowed to go back to Kameredo to continue with his theater works. And above all, the system that didn't want him to be in Nairobi, didn't want him to be in Kenya, continued to persecute even the family to a point where Ngugi had to part a lot with the rest of the family. And as we now said, say goodbye to him, Honorable Speaker, my prayer is that the children of Ngugi will have peace, can come back to this country and contribute. And for all of us to make sure that Ngugi will not be forgotten for what he did to this country. May his soul.
Julia Sunguli.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to join everybody else in eulogizing Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. He was definitely a literary giant in the 70s, and that is why a UK newspaper said about him when he was about 33 years that he is accepted as one of Africa's outstanding contemporary writers. His best books, Mr. Speaker, were the books that he wrote under the name of James Ngugi. The book of The River Between, A Grain of Wheat, and Weep Not Child. That is actually why the 70s would remember Ngugi. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, something happened to Ngugi later on. When the world was embracing him, he seems to have retreated from the world. First, he retreated from Christianity. He changed his name, James. He returned his baptismal card and retreated away from Christianity. Then, Mr. Speaker, he retreated from the English language, the one that had made him a giant, and started writing in Kikuyu and having characters only within the Kikuyu language and Kikuyu culture. That actually is perhaps one of the reasons why the people who went to school after the 70s do not remember Ngugi as much as you and I do. Mr. Speaker, he withdrew, of course, when he was detained by Jomo Kenyatta, he must have suffered a lot. President Moi released him as soon as he became president, and he immigrated into the West. But this does not take away from the fact that, Mr. Speaker, at one time, Ngugi was a prolific writer, an artist, a novelist we shall always remember, and we shall place his name in the records of history. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Bayer.
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you and wish to eulogize Ngugi wa Thiong'o. You know, Honorable Speaker, I'm a student of literature and having taught literature at different levels. But Honorable Speaker, I want to say that the late Ngugi wa Thiong'o will remember him for the African Writers Series as a pioneer of that book, that level of books, where many Africans got an opportunity not just to write, but to write and publish, where the African Writers Series was published then as one of the biggest publishing houses, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, secondly, I remember Ngugi wa Thiong'o for his book, Decolonizing the Mind, one of the greatest works of literature that he ever wrote. It is a series of papers that he put together, Honorable Speaker, and it is in Decolonizing the Mind, Honorable Speaker, that we find Ngugi in his true sense. Honorable Speaker, one of his great books that people never talk about is The Devil on the Cross. The Devil on the Cross was one of Ngugi's greatest book. Actually, it is The Devil on the Cross that runs crosshair. He runs crosshairs with Daniel Arap Moi then when he was president, Honorable Speaker. Although Devil on the Cross is one of the greatest satires that Ngugi wa Thiong'o has ever written. A book that when you read, you get the revolutionary spirit in the writer. You get Ngugi wa Thiong'o, the person who fights for justice, who fights for land rights, a writer who stood up for the common mwananchi in this country. Ngugi wa Thiong'o will go down in history as one of the liberators of Africa, and that is why he could not agree with many presidents, and that's why he could not find space in Africa and chose to live in the United States. Honorable Speaker, we have lost a great man, a literary giant, somebody that was respected not just in the continent of Africa, but in Europe and above and beyond, Honorable Speaker. I thank you, and may God
The Honorable Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to pay tribute to a very distinguished son of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, as had been said before, Ngugi wa Thiong'o was initially called James Thiong'o, and he decided to change his name and drop the English name so that he pays tribute to being an African. But Honorable Speaker, one of the things that I remember about Ngugi wa Thiong'o was a famous quote from one of his books that he used to say, "To speak one's language is to celebrate one's identity." And he also said, "But to impose a language is a way to divide people, and it is a practice of tribalism of another kind." And therefore, Honorable Speaker, the Ngugi wa Thiong'o was one of the very famous Kenyans who really spoke against tribalism. But the other thing, Honorable Speaker, that we also celebrate Ngugi wa Thiong'o for is in terms of receiving honors, he is one of the most decorated writers in Africa. He received a total of 38 documented awards, one of them being the UNESCO Award for Weep Not Child. But also between the year 2006 and 2007, through one of his books, The Wizard of Oz, Ngugi wa Thiong'o received a total of 6 international awards. That was really something that was exceptional. And Honorable Speaker, the same way that we normally say that we are going to benchmark with other people on the good practices and the good things that we do in Kenya, Ngugi wa Thiong'o is one of those people that we also really know that the rest of the world would want to also emulate and be like him. And I just want to tell especially the people who are here and the people who are listening to us who love soccer, that a team like Arsenal should now emulate Ngugi wa Thiong'o in terms of doing
The Honorable Member for Seme, Honorable Nyikar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I take this opportunity to also eulogize the passing on of our great writer Ngugi wa Thiong'o. His life, Madam Speaker, epitomizes the philosophical basis of life, the idealism that is associated with scholarship, the ability to actually strive and go against all odds to fight for ideal. Madam Speaker, this is what really distinguishes human beings from animals. Animals don't fight for ideals, but human beings fight for ideals, and sometimes they suffer like he suffered. They have to make sometimes very grave decisions at great risk to their lives because there is something they stand for, something they believe will make a difference in the life of the people and in the society. And this, he took his ability in writing to actually express this, agreed to fight with the system that be, to express what he wanted. So really, these really are the people who show to us the roles of universities. Universities are actually to be populated by people who seek ideals, not just the practicalities of life that take time for most of us. So losing a person like him is a great loss to this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
The Honorable Member for Marsabit, Honorable Naomi Wako.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to this very important debate that is going on as we eulogize the great man of this land, someone maybe many of us may not have met physically, but we have interacted with his books and known him. I remember when we were in high school, one of his books, The River Between, was like a must for all of us to read. We interacted with him through his writings. He has inspired many of us, and I want to send my condolences to him, to his family members, to relatives, and all his loved ones on my own behalf and on behalf of the great people of Marsabit, because I know many scholars from our place, many professionals have also gone through his books just as I did. Honorable Speaker, it is not just enough for us to eulogize. A great man like him, somebody who has always represented us in a good way, somebody who is internationally celebrated, we should also see how best we can extend our blessings to his family and also see as a nation how he can be celebrated, maybe as the relatives prepare for his burial. Honorable Speaker, we have great men and women who have served this country in different capacity and represented us. And it will only be good for us to appreciate them and also recognize them as heroes. I believe he's one of our heroes and he should be recognized in that capacity even though he has left us. May his soul rest in peace and may God comfort his family. Thank you.
Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence of the following school. Moon, seated in the Speaker's Gallery, is Moon Kopir Girls Secondary School from Kajiado East constituency, Kajiado County. And also seated in the public gallery is St. Mary's Nyabururu School from Kitutu Chache South constituency, Kisii County. And I'll ask Honorable Donya Doris to welcome the schools on our behalf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is my school. I schooled there in class 2 and class 3, St. Mary's Nyabururu, but I can't say the year because you might suspect how old I am. Madam Speaker, as parents and of course members of parliament, we must have nice things to tell our girls. It's only that, oh, you girls, you should be smiling because I schooled in your school. Work hard, it has been the norm. Be humble, be kind, polite as your mama county. I have never even slaughtered a chicken, Madam Speaker. Education is what no one will ever take away from you. They can take your land, they take everything. Our children, I can also pass over the message to our girls, but something that no one will ever take away from you is your education. Value your education, respect your teachers, and you have to be good girls, not a bad girl like Honorable Millie Odhiambo. Very, 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 because she has confirmed that. She has told me, Donya, tell them they must be good girls like you, Honorable Donya, and not bad girls like Honorable Millie. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Tigania West, Honorable John Mutunga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to join my colleagues in eulogizing the family of late Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Honorable Speaker, Ngugi wa Thiong'o emerged as a self-made man, an African who has really found a space in this world. He satirized the political and the social intolerance that used to be there at that particular point in time. Honorable Speaker, Ngugi wa Thiong'o is among the very few who have taken Africa where it should be, who have left a mark in terms of writing. And he challenges all of us, Honorable Speaker, to do something about what we do. There are very many things that we do, but we rarely document. And not just documenting, we also rarely challenge our young people to be able to think about their surroundings, think about the situations that they are in at one given time, and see how they can develop out of such situations. Honorable Speaker, Ngugi wa Thiong'o died in exile after he ran away as a result of having been followed or being reprimanded by the then regimes that used to be there. This is one person we should celebrate as a country because he has put East Africa on the map. And Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Honorable Speaker, is not only a naturalist, he's a nationalist, he's an internationalist because his books are read across the world. The time we were in school, we used to read his books, and they used to influence us as young thinkers and young planners in this country. So, Honorable Speaker, Ngugi wa Thiong'o will be remembered by many generations to come. And having interacted with them, it is high time we also got challenged by what he did. I pass my condolences to the family. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Elders, Honorable Kainan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o was an academic giant, a philosopher, a thinker who has encouraged Pan-Africanism, who has fought colonialism, who has also tried to reduce the influence of new colonial ideas. And Madam Speaker, we as Africans, and in particular in the academic world, there are people who are called, academicians who are called social fools. But Ngugi wa Thiong'o was a true academician, a person who professed, who believed in the academic world, combined literature with culture. Madam Speaker, combined literature with the inherent and rich African culture, Madam Speaker, and truly will always be remembered as a person who has not only promoted the African literature, the African culture, Pan-Africanism, but also promoted the presence of the African people, the African continent, Madam Speaker, in the global world. Madam Speaker, he will always be remembered as a person truly who has believed in democracy, who has believed in the ideals of the Kenyan people, Madam Speaker. And I know for many who have truly believed in his literature, he has left a legacy. That legacy will be found in his many books. That legacy will be found in his many lectures. That legacy will be found in many interactions that he has had. And therefore, truly will remember you. And may God, wherever you are, rest your soul in eternal peace. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Tinderet.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to eulogize Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who was a great African literary writer. In his works, Madam Speaker, Ngugi wa Thiong'o showed how one can communicate language, culture, and traditionalism through the writings of African art of works. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, through his book, The Hermit, actually showed how African traditional way of life could meet with modernity. And this was a way where they were now able to explain the issues of colonialism, the issues of racism, and how the Europeans came over and colonized the Africans through his book, Decolonizing the Mind. One of the things that Ngugi wa Thiong'o actually taught, and I think this should be actually emphasized more even up to today, is that we need to have a lot of respect for our cultures, our traditions, and our language. Today, if you go to the United Nations, the media of communications is actually English, Arabic, French, and other languages. African languages across have not actually been recognized. And I want to say this, that it is important as Africa to know that our languages, our traditions, and even the ways in which we do our work should actually be ingrained even in our school setup. And thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I apologize and say we have lost a great literary giant. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Bondo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if we valued exactly what Professor was, or what he has been since his works, if we value that and we relate it to the kind of exports that we've done as a country, I want to believe that the value of Ngugi's works and what Ngugi has made in terms of people are basically incomparable. We've contributed immensely. He contributed immensely to the world. He contributed immensely to the rest of, when you look at the amount of works Ngugi was able to do in 1 decade, if you want to know how a great a person is, look at that versus what we are having now in a situation where virtually nobody is doing the kind of things that Ngugi was able to do in the 70s and in the beginning of the 80s. So, Madam Speaker, Ngugi has created people. Ngugi has made people to be what they are. And this is a time that we, as a country, we really need to recognize that, no, people are mortal, But what needs to remain is the works. So to us, Ngugi's works remain as eternal, and we're going to be indebted to Ngugi for a much more longer period of time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Dagoretti, Honorable KJ.
Madam Speaker, I thank you. Ngugi wa Thiong'o was a patriot. And it is for that reason that I, on behalf of my family, the people of Dagoretti South constituency, and even the thespians, artists, and performers of this country, I pass my condolences to the family of this great Kenyan. Madam Speaker, two great artists, Tony Njogona and Walter Mung'are, can bear me witness that we as very young artists were truly inspired by the works of Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, being a thespian and a critic, taught us that there's a very big difference between insults and satire. That even with his very hard-hitting literature, and even with his very stinging critique, he never once bowed down to the temptation of being an insulter, or being toxic, or even being offensive. He knew that there was great power in satire that is not insulting. Madam Speaker, today, in the era of content creation, there is much to learn from the generation of creators and authors like Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Those who are creating content today must learn that intellect has way more power than the toxicity and malice that is being trended left, right, and center. Finally, Madam Speaker, the two causes that Ngugi wa Thiong'o was championing, one on decolonization and the other on the promotion of culture, it will be a great honor for us to honor Ngugi, because we did not honor him enough in his life, to honor him by preserving the great works that he has done using the new technology that allows us to feed in our languages to speak to the new revolution that is the fourth industry.
Give him a minute to just finish.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. There is a great opportunity for us with the new and emerging technologies to onboard all this knowledge that is cultural, traditional, and has great African heritage onto the new industrial revolution, and especially in AI, where we must ask ourselves, what language will these technologies be speaking? And if they are not speaking our language, then we shall be doing the likes of Ngugi wa Thiong'o a great disfavor. So, Honorable Speaker, I would like for us to honor this great Kenyan by making sure that we do not treat his memory the way we treated him in his life. I thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and we honor a great Kenyan.
Just wait. Hello, the Honorable Member for Westlands, Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me a chance also to eulogize Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Madam Speaker, I must also confess I've read his books, and reading his books, you could just start even imagining yourself in a situation, because you read the book, it carries you along. And Madam Speaker, is one of the greatest brains that we have ever produced. And this country has lost big, and many, those younger generation that have not experienced the power of literally, Madam Speaker, they should look at these books. When we were in school, we used to read books about African writers series. And Ngugi wa Thiong'o was one of them, Chinua Achebe, and many Elijah Amadi, and many others, Madam Speaker. And you could read all those books, and they were readily available. We started reading books written by foreigners later in life, but at that time, Madam Speaker, we could read the African writers series. I don't know if they still exist, but that was the best thing, Madam Speaker. Ngugi wa Thiong'o was very creative, and Madam Speaker, he lived his life. He was there, and he has shown Kenyans that it is good to preserve our culture. It's good to preserve our languages. Some of our languages now are being diluted. They are even dying. Some of us are afraid to speak to our children in our own language. Madam Speaker, we must preserve our African heritage and our languages and culture all the time, learning from Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, the Honorable Member for Tetu. And
thank you, Madam Speaker. I also rise to eulogize Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Madam Speaker, let me say from the onset, I knew Ngugi, and I had an opportunity to talk to him just about 5 or 6 weeks ago. And his rallying call all the time, as he spoke to me as a young leader, he told me to always remember to advocate for the small farmers and the workers. Ngugi wa Thiong'o was someone who strongly believed in social justice for the small person. And if we look at his life, we can actually see that his brilliance and monumental contributions to literature and thought are celebrated worldwide. Madam Speaker, I have a petition still doing rounds as usual in the House to request this country to bestow the highest honor to Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. And Madam Speaker, it's sad that this man, despite having worked so hard, despite having given such a great contribution to knowledge, lived about 22 years of his life in exile, away from his home country. And it is only fair that Parliament initiates an honor for him or recommends that he be honored, and that we also look for a national institution that can at least carry his name. And also preferably one road in this country can be named Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o Road. And also the University of Nairobi, where he taught for very many years, would also propose that it can also give him at least one more honor in his honor. So, Madam Speaker, I rise to eulogize a professor and say that this is a man who deserves a little more than he has received.
the Honorable Member Mbaka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
We are way past our time.
Yes, thank you for giving me this opportunity to eulogize Professor Ngugi. Professor was my lecturer at Nairobi University. I took literature, and him and Okotbi Tech, Michere Mugo were our lecturers who we really, really admired because of the depth of knowledge, their artistic world, and the way they mirrored the world through their works. Professor Ngugi was a politician, much as he was a great writer. His works shows you how a politician he was. He talked about poor governance. He wanted to promote the rights of human beings. And he also challenged the coming of the white man. In his River Between, there's a statement where a character is saying, "There shall come a people with clothes like butterflies." Those are the white people who came to colonize us. And Ngugi wa Thiong'o talked a lot about the effect of colonialism on the African culture, how our culture was changing because the Europeans came and took away our culture. He loved to call us by our own African names. And he kept on calling me Achieng, Achieng, Achieng every time. He told me, drop the name Christine. You must be called Achieng. That is how I remember him. I became a teacher and I taught The River Between, which was a very inspiring novel, and many students love it and passed their exams very, very well because it was easy to read. It was very, very inspiring. It was teaching us a lot about the coming of the white man and the clash between the two cultures. He will be remembered for so many of these texts that were introduced.
Right, honorable members, I think we are even exceeded our time by 15 minutes. I'll now let us move back to the order paper. And we had gone up to order number 13, but had not gone to statements. We had skipped order number 7, statements. So I think we can now go back. Read the next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Is that the one that is was requested to the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock? Yes, I thought I saw Honorable Mutunga. He's not here. Okay. Yes, the Honorable Dr. Edwin Mugo, member for Maithioya, was the one who was requesting. I thought it was a response. Okay. Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock, on implementation of Guarantee Minimum Returns, GMR, to support coffee, tea, milk, and macadamia farmers. Honorable Speaker, whereas agriculture remains the backbone of Kenya's economy and a key driver of employment and exports, its sustainability and the well-being of farmers are increasingly being threatened by high input costs, climate risks, and global economic uncertainties. The rising costs of essential farm inputs, including seeds, herbicides, pesticides, fertilizer, animal feeds, fuel, labor, and farm machinery, have significantly increased the financial burden on farmers. Further, adverse climate change on rain-fed agriculture, volatility in international commodity markets due to global conflicts, including the Russia-Ukraine war and supply chain disruptions, have also impacted on the returns for farmers. Honorable Speaker, on 5th August 2023, the government committed to implement a Guarantee Minimum Returns GMR program aimed at providing direct financial support to farmers and stabilize their incomes amid market fluctuations. A key pillar of the bottom economic transformation agenda, BETTER, the GMR prioritizes production subsidies and direct support to farmers over consumption subsidies, cautioning farmers from unpredictable market fluctuations and complementing the existing market pricing mechanisms, enabling more stable and predictable incomes. Full implementation of the GMR program is expected to protect farmers' incomes and prevent artificial price distortions, enhance food security, boost rural incomes, and drive economic development in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Department Committee on Agriculture and Livestock on the following. Measures being taken by the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock to ensure that farmers are cautioned from climate-related losses, price fluctuations, volatility in the international market and trade environment. Interstate conflicts such as the Russia-Ukraine war, supply chain disruptions, and the recent trade tariffs imposed by the United States. 2, efforts being made by the ministry to introduce a price support mechanism for coffee, tea, milk, and macadamia farmers to boost their incomes and ensure sustainable livelihoods. 3, action being taken by the ministry to ensure equality in the distribution of subsidized fertilizer and ensure that the distribution is informed by the region's soil quality and topography types in different regions of the country. And finally, 4, report on status of implementation of the Guarantee Minimum Returns Program on the GMR Guarantee Minimum Returns Program. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, the Chairperson for Agriculture and Livestock, when will you give a response? Any member of the committee here? Okay, Majority Leader, Deputy Majority Leader. Can give an undertaking on behalf of the Agriculture Committee.
I thought I saw Honorable Mutunga here.
Yes, he was here, but
all right,
he seems to
probably
have stepped out.
we could do 2 weeks, Honorable Speaker, on the same. I'll let them know. Thank you.
Thank you. Next statement by the Honorable Mary Maingi, member from where?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2c, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock regarding the status of rice importation into this country. Honorable Speaker, on 26th of May this year, it was reported that rice farmers in Moya constituency, Kirinyaga County, are likely to suffer a loss of more than $500 million if the government fails to intervene and purchase 5,000 metric tons of grain from their stores, despite being full of grain sufficient for the country's consumption. It was reported that the situation has been occasioned by the government's action of importing rice, which has flooded the markets to the disadvantage of the local farmers. Honorable Speaker, a study conducted by the Sustainable Trade Initiative on Moya rice growers' multipurpose in 2020 reported that about 80% of rice grown in Kenya is from irrigation schemes established by the government, among them being the Moya irrigation scheme, which accounted for more than 70% of the produce. Failure by the government to purchase, Moya irrigation scheme, which accounted for more than 70% of the produce. Failure by the government to purchase rice from the local farmers is likely to occasion a delay in planting for the next season, which is likely to delay or affect rice production in the next period. This is against the government's agenda of reducing over-reliance on the importation of products and encouraging local production. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock on the following. 1, the total quantity of rice that the government has imported in the last financial year. 2, why the government is reluctant to buy rice from the local farmers and has chosen to import the commodity despite having sufficient locally produced rice. 3, the total annual production of rice in the last financial year compared to the local annual consumption projections. 4, measures being taken by the government to ensure that a larger percentage of rice produced locally is purchased by the government to reduce over-reliance on imported rice. And 5, the steps being taken to cushion rice farmers in the country from likely unfair market competition that could arise from oversaturation of the market by imported rice. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Again, that's also for the chairperson, Agriculture and Livestock. He's still not here. So, Deputy Majority Leader.
I'll inform them, Honorable Speaker, we bring a statement in the next 2 weeks, Honorable Speaker. Much obliged.
Thank you. I think the next statement is by the Honorable Mishi Mboko, member for Likoni.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provision of Standing Order number 44.2c, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the status of upgrade of the Likoni Ferry Channel. Honorable Speaker, more than 300,000 people use the Likoni Channel on a daily basis, which links Mombasa Island to Kwale County in the South Coast. In 2020, the government commenced construction of the Mtongwe ramp with a view of decongesting the Likoni Channel. Sadly, the construction is yet to be completed, worsening the congestion at the Likoni Channel. In addition, the ferries in the Likoni Channel keep developing mechanical failures. For instance, on 25th April 2025, a ferry developed mechanical failure and stalled while on transit, causing fear amongst the passengers. On 17th April 2025, the Kenya Ferry Services only had 2 ferries in operation following a breakdown of 2 other ferries. This caused congestion in the area and adversely affected the resident. The incidents raised concern on the suitability of the vessel and the need for urgent attention to ensure the safety and security of the resident and prevent such occurrences in the future. Honorable Speaker, it is against this backdrop that a request for statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, measures put in place by the government to ensure safety and efficiency of ferry services, including an update on the status of maintenance and procurement plans for new ferries and upgrade of the existing vessels. 2, status of the construction of Mtongwe ramp in Likoni constituency. And 3, long-term strategies being put in place to provide sustainable and reliable maritime transport solution for residents of Mombasa County and businesses dependent on ferry services. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson for the Committee on Transport and Infrastructure, not present. What about any member of the committee who can give an undertaking on behalf of the committee? All right, again, that's left to you, Deputy Majority Leader.
All right, Speaker, I will inform GK, the MP Fundia, the chairperson, so that he can bring a response in 2 weeks. So thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, before we go to your statement, Honorable Mboko, allow me to recognize the presence of Limek Namuntak Girls School from Narok West constituency, Narok County. And also seated in the public gallery is Chebwotuyet Secondary School from Chebalungu constituency, Bomet County. Now I'll call upon the Honorable Member Mandazi, member for Chebalungu, to welcome the students on our behalf.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. May I take this opportunity to welcome all the schools that have come to visit Parliament today, and especially the school that is from my constituency, that is Chebwotuyet Secondary School. I want to confirm that the students from Chebwotuyet Secondary School, Madam Speaker, are very disciplined and hardworking students. I welcome them here in Parliament so that they can witness what we normally come and do, that is legislate and to represent the issues from various constituencies within our country. This is the place to be. This is the place that you should work hard and desire to be in the future. I wish you well, and equally, Madam Speaker, allow me to wish all of them that are going to sit for their exams at the end of the year success in the exams. Thank you so much, Speaker, and they feel welcome to the presence of Parliament. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Omboko, your statement, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order number 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the tragic fire tragedy in Makina area, Kibera, in Nairobi City, County. Honorable Speaker, on the night of 24th May 2025, a devastating fire tragedy occurred in Makina area, Kibera, in Nairobi City, County. The deadly fire swept through the informal settlement, destroying property, rendering several people homeless and claiming lives of 8 people, 7 of whom hail from the Muhaya constituency in Vihiga County. Among the deceased, Honorable Speaker, were 5 members of the same family from a Sirulo village, being a Mr. Ernest Ambani, 36 years, his wife Flora Ambani, 33 years, and their children Gertrude Amisi, 9 years, Silas Omboko, my namesake, 3 years, and Stephen Mukuna, 2 years. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, a Mr. Harrison Liaha, 24 years old, perished in the inferno together with his pregnant sister, 18 years. A Miss Yvonne Okwoku also perished and, no, let me take that again. Miss Yvonne Okwoku, also Miss Charity Eboso, wife to Mr. Harrison Liaha, who perished in the tragedy, is currently hospitalized in critical conditions, along with their one child who was miraculously saved from the inferno. Honorable Speaker, the cause of the devastating Makina fire tragedy remains unknown to date. Adding to previous fire tragedies that have occurred in informal settlements, particularly in Nairobi, distressfully, fires in the informal settlements have become alarmingly frequent, often exposing the fragility of our urban disaster preparedness and response, calling for elaborate interventions. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security to appraise the House on the following. Number one, a comprehensive report on the cause of the fire incident in Makina area, Kibera, including the details of the affected people and the findings on the systematic failures of the recurrent fire tragedies in the informal settlements. Number two, the support, if any, extended to the ministry, to the survivors of the tragedy, including provisions of shelter, food, clothing, emergency treatment, and trauma counseling, including sending off of their beloved ones. Number three, the steps being taken by the ministry to expedite the release of DNA results for the victims of the fire tragedy so as to spare the families of the deceased from prolonged emotional distress and enable them lay the deceased kins to rest. And finally, Honorable Speaker, the measures that the ministry intends to put in place to prevent similar tragedies in the informal settlements in future, particularly in terms of safety, community awareness, disaster response, and urban planning. Honorable Speaker, the families have been living here for the last more than 3 weeks, Honorable Speaker. The government chemists do indicate that they need 30 days to give the DNA test, meaning they'll have to stay here for a whole 1 month before they rest their beloved ones to rest. And it's upon that I would really wish that we treat this as an urgent matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I think I'll exercise my discretion and give a chance to the member for Kibra to buttress that statement, since it's your constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to agree with my colleague, Honorable Milemba. The fire actually occurred in my constituency. Just as he has said, I want to agree totally to the sentiments of my colleague. It has been very, very the families affected and those who also live in informal settlement, the fires have been occurring almost every 2 weeks. But this one was one of its kind because people died beyond recognition. When you have 9 people dying beyond recognition, it is not a small matter. Now, this has been happening in this country for a long time, especially in Nairobi in informal sector. We have talked about this. We have also asked the government and the county government to give us a place where we can have a fire station. We have asked the governor to give us fire stations so that when this happens, we have instant response from a fire station. However, we had asked the government to help the victims, and I must say that the government also responded well and brought some food to the victim. But this can never help or fill the gap, emotional gap that has been experienced by this group of people. However, the president came when he was asked to visit these victims. He went and visited the victims and gave a full support to the victims. However, we must have a lasting solution to the fire outbreaks in this informal settlement. We are asking that we need to get to the root bottom of the causes of fire every time. And the investigating agencies must do this with speed, because the families concerned, like my colleague has said, have been here for a very long time. We also need to have the DNA test. It must be hastened. They must carry out DNA tests so that these families can be taken home after a very short while. Otherwise, I sympathize with the families, the affected families, and we ask that the government must take serious action. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What's the quick point, Deputy?
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. You know, I had the Honorable Teacher, Omboko Milemba, say that they perished and they're recuperating in hospital. So how does somebody who has perished really be in hospital recovery?
Those who perished and those who...
I found that a very interesting statement. I don't know whether it's because he needs to buy specs. You know,
Honorable Owen Baya, order. Why do you need to write on a point of order when the chair is protecting you? Okay, what's your point of order?
Thank you for protecting me. And I'm really surprised at the leader of business in this house prejudicing with casualty and casualness the death of a family member that lost 5 people, a father, mother, 3 children. Another one that lost 2 people, only 1 and a child are in hospital. And just laughing about it. I think you should apologize for this, and to Kenyans and the people of Emuhaya,
yes,
and those families that do suffer from such a tragedy.
Honorable Mboko, I thought all that the Honorable Owenbai was saying, he needs he needs clarity. Order, Honorable Mboko Milemba, you are a member of the Speaker's panel, and when you're told by the Speaker order, you stay in order. The impression I had is that all that Owen was seeking, order. All that Owen was seeking is clarification on how many perished and how many are recuperating. Am I right? Yes. Is that all that you're saying? And Honorable Mboko has already has given that those figures. Yes, Honorable Olwoch.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and allow me to ride on and make a a comment as well. Madare constituency, just like Kibra, had been affected within, I think, a span of 2 weeks. And also on behalf of my colleague, the member for Kamkunji, the House will remember also that there have been frequent fires in Kikomba. Honorable Speaker, these issues touch on criminality, and so as the chair is going to respond to this statement, if you look at the common nexus between these fires, the one that persists in Toi, the one that persists in Kikomba, 1 month hardly passes without these fires. There is a question of criminality that possibly touches on the land ownership issues. And so for us to be able to deal with these things conclusively once and for all, one of the suggestions that has been there...
Honorable Memose, allow Honorable Tongoyo to hear what? He is the chair of Provincial Administration and Security. So let him listen. Have you heard what the Honorable Olwoch has said? Please listen. Repeat what you had said.
And Honorable Speaker, what I'm saying is that there is an element of criminality. These things are not mere coincidental fires that take place. There are people, a cartel, a cabal of people who feel that they can be able to forcefully circumvent an appropriate public land where ordinary traders carry out business by frustrating them with ordinary fires. And one of the things, other than looking at the culprits, is for this committee to consider compulsorily acquiring those lands and making them either in the name of the county or the national government, and then allow the traders there to build a modern market. That applies to Toi, that applies to Kikomba market. This is an issue then that the security must take in seriously, as well as the Committee on Lands. Having said that, I want to thank the government, because when we lost 6 people, and these 6 people died also beyond recognition, this morning alone, we have paid money for DNA and money for mortuary for people who completely got burnt out. These things again turn on criminality. And there is an element in which the DCI must check how a fire begins lit by petrol in a place where, one, there is no fire engine, there is no opportunity to save people, and people continue to needlessly lose their life. But I want to thank government. Our honorable member Ruku, who recently was appointed, came to the constituency and we got help. His Excellency the President did the same, and also the PS for Internal Security, PS Omolo, we thank. But the committee must expedite and look at the elements of criminality and the questions of titling and compulsory acquisition of these lands. I thank you.
Okay, the Honorable Owen Bayer.
That's a statement. Honorable Speaker.
Did you rise on? Yeah. What exactly are you? What's your point of your order about?
No, I want to say this, Honorable Speaker. The issues of fire in Nairobi are just too many. And I think the County of Government of Nairobi, knowing that management of fires and fire brigades are devolved, we want to see the County Government of Nairobi really being proactive first to ensure we do not have these fires. When they occur, they are there to ensure that they don't destroy. But we cannot have a perennial issue of fires in this city county. You know, this is a city county. This is the gateway to, this is Nairobi. It is everything for Kenya. But if you cannot manage, you always have fires. Who will respect this country if we cannot manage fire? So the governor of Nairobi, if you are listening, please protect your people and the property in this town by ensuring we do not have these fires all the time.
You want to enrich that question anymore? Because I want to call upon the chair to give a commitment on when he'll have the response.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze pia kutoa pole zangu na rambirambi kwa watu wa Kibra na hasa viongozi ambao wameleta maneno haya ndani ya bunge. Niseme poleni sana kupoteza wapendwa wenu, na niweze kusema Mheshimiwa Spika, hili ni jambo ambalo limekuwa linarejelea mara kwa mara, na ni wakati ambapo inafaa uchunguzi ufanywe tuweze kutambua kuwa ni kina nani ambao wako nyuma ya maafa haya. Mheshimiwa Spika, haiwezekani kila wakati familia zinapoteza wapendwa wao na pengine kuna mtu nyuma, kama vile nimesikia Mheshimiwa Mbaya akisema wengine ni mambo ya mashamba na mengine. Itakuwa si sawa mali ya watu kupotea, na hata ukiangalia kule Kongowea sokoni, Mheshimiwa Spika, pia wale wanabiashara waliweza kuathirika na moto mkubwa sana ndani ya Kongowea, walipoteza mali zao na hakuna fidia ambayo walipata Mheshimiwa Spika mpaka leo. Pale Ziwa la Ng'ombe pia moto pia ulianza mkubwa ukapoteza famili nyingi, wapendwa wakawa wamepotea na hakuna hata ukienda kupeleka unaomba msaada pia, manake katika ngafu tuna disaster fund. Mheshimiwa Spika, waweza ukaomba hizi pesa usaidie watu wako, hupati Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi naomba haya mambo yaangaliwe kwa kina. Poleni sana Mheshimiwa Kibra, Mheshimiwa ndugu yangu Mboko Milemba, poleni sana. Mwenyezi Mungu awepe subra kwa wakati huu mgumu. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Mheshimiwa Tongoyo, mwenyekiti wa kamati, utapeana ahadi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And ordinarily, I had expected members to react in the manner they are doing when after giving the response. But nevertheless, I appreciate the interest in this. Honorable Speaker, given the urgency and of this, I may need a week to respond to. But there is one item that needs a quick and urgent attention: the issue of the DNA, so that the families can able to get the opportunity to bury their loved one. And the member who did raise the statement can attest. While we are seated here, I'd already made some intervention with the government chemist to have the issue of DNA be expedited so that at least they can able to have the bodies of their loved one buried. Then the rest, maybe we can respond in a week or so, Honorable Speaker.
In a week?
In a week. You know, the more urgent thing was this one.
No, this one you said immediately. DNA.
Yeah, we actually on it.
You're
on it. Can be even be tomorrow, can be a week. Yes.
The comprehensive response will be in a week's time. Is that
yeah, what I'm saying, Speaker, the issue of DNA may not necessarily wait until maybe we have the response for the rest of the the item. That one, we are already on it. We are going to see whether we can able to do it even in this week, by Friday. And we already have the undertaking by the government chemist.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh. What's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, I have an issue that needs your attention and not related to Kibra and other fires, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, last week, our constituencies received communication from carer officers as regards reduction of allocated funds to go towards our rural roads, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this stems from a court case that out of goodwill, this House chose to do the necessary by allowing passage of revenue allocation, Honorable Speaker, under the guise that governors through COG were going to withdraw a court case, Honorable Speaker. Even though we did what we ought to have, the governors walked back on that promise, and therefore allocation has been reduced from 42 million, Honorable Speaker, per constituency under 22% to 28 million, Honorable Speaker. This is a travesty. The allocation under 10%, Honorable Speaker, has moved from 19 million to 0, Honorable Speaker, just because the governors have reneged on a promise that they made, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is a behavior akin to not wanting anything from this House going forward, Honorable Speaker. It is like the governors have confirmed that they don't need this House either way as regards their budgetary allocation, Honorable Speaker. So we need your guidance on this matter. Do we have to transact on goodwill, or we have to make certain provisions that will make it very difficult for anybody to walk back on a promise, Honorable Speaker? Our constituencies, even though have received that reduction, Honorable Speaker, most of the members of Parliament have advised their carer committees not to move to reallocate or to reduce those budgetary allocations, Honorable Speaker. So how do we move on this matter? Remember, all these roads had been tendered for and awards had been given, Honorable Speaker, and there are usually very stringent conditions that underpin contracts, Honorable Speaker. So how do we as a constituency or as constituencies benefiting from these funds move forward, Honorable Speaker?
I now call upon the chair transport. Where is the chair transport? Huh? Whip. Oh yes, the chief whip, Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, it's indeed true what the Honorable Jared Okello has raised as far as the RMLF funds are concerned. And the facts that culminated to us passing what the governors really wanted us to pass as part of the negotiation so that you can unlock the stalemate that had arisen from the court order that led to the freezing of the 10 billion shillings RMLF. Honorable Speaker, it's important to inform the House that that matter has really been canvassed by the House Business Committee in the previous two sittings. And last week, Honorable Speaker, the Right Honorable Speaker nominated a few members of Parliament, of course from this House, to the negotiating or mediation, to mediate with the Council of Governors. And at this point, I wish to report that we've really made positive strides. I don't know whether Honorable Okello is listening to me, because it's very important. Because he did ask a question, but I don't see him, Honorable Speaker. I don't know whether I should proceed. Oh, he's here. Okay, so Honorable Speaker, the judgment to that matter is coming up on Thursday at 2 p.m. What we did when we passed the out of what you've said, Honorable Jared, is that what we did then is that we sought to arrest the judgment from being delivered at that point, and it was postponed to Thursday. However, today we were in court. Of course, the National Assembly and the Council of Governors, and the court directed that we proceed with the ADR. I need to confirm to this House that tomorrow we'll be meeting with the Council of Governors. Tomorrow, if of course they show up. If they don't show up to the directions that the court have been given, we still have our cards. Because it is actually wrong for governors or the Council of Governors, Honorable Speaker, to hold the entire nation at ransom. I mean, 10 billion, Honorable Speaker, is lying idle in some account. And the roads, even with these rains, Honorable Speaker, the roads are impassable. And even if we decided to give this money, Honorable Speaker, to these governors, they will not do them. They will not do them. Trust me. I am on record as having said, Honorable Speaker, that you will actually need a microscope to see what governors do across their counties, Honorable Speaker. Besides recruiting huge battalion, Honorable Speaker, for events so that they can, and Harambes, they have a group of people that move around with them in every meeting, and their work is just to cheer and clap for them, Honorable Speaker. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, they are pushing for such. By the way, it's important for this House to know.
Fair enough.
No, let me conclude, Honorable Speaker.
Please conclude.
It is actually the same governors, Honorable Speaker, that are sponsoring cases against this House, Honorable Speaker. The NDCDF case, it is Council of Governors. RMLF, it is actually Council of Governors. But we are telling them that if they think they are going to hold us at ransom, that tomorrow they will not show up for the ADR ahead of Thursday, and they won't show up. No problem. Today here on order number 12, we have a division of revenue, in the order paper, Honorable Speaker, number 12, and it's already actually rejected, Honorable Speaker. So we are going for that mediation, and we will see, because we really cannot be holding the country at ransom because of our, bloated egos and moving around in red carpets and those kind of...
Okay, fair enough. I thought you meant you can't hold the country hostage. Anyway, Honorable Kainan.
Mr. Speaker, I always support consensus. Some of us fought so hard for devolution during the countdown to the promulgation of the current constitution. Mr. Speaker, as a person who has represented a constituency that has been marginalized over the years, the devolution that I had in mind, the devolvement of resources that I had in mind, when I jealously fought for the enactment of provisions that will provide resources to the ground. And what is being seen right now, Mr. Speaker, and I'm sure you are around, you are a deputy speaker then, is completely different. Mr. Speaker, I want to go on record that I am a firm believer in devolution. I believe in devolution. I will always support devolution. But I will not support a convoluted, corruptly managed devolution, Mr. Speaker, that does not allow the trickling down of resources to the common people. Mr. Speaker, I want the Honorable Osoro to listen to this. We acted in good faith. We acted as members of the National Assembly, as members of the 13th Parliament. We acted in good faith to allow the passage of that bill and formed a dialogue committee. I am aware the Honorable Osoro, who is also the the minority whip, and my majority whip, I'm sorry to say this, and also who is a seasoned lawyer, has briefed us today in the House Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, the members are not being told the truth. The truth of the matter is this, and it's my responsibility to speak plainly, to say the truth, because I only fear God. The governors have withdrawn from that case. The court made a determination against your interest. The last chance is tomorrow morning. If the negotiating team do not deliver a favorable result on the roads, on CDF and all other contentious issues, I shall stand here as the father of this house to reject what is contained in this order. And you know it. That's what we have alluded to. And please don't accept this order number 12. You have finished. Whatever you have done it, let me leave it there. It's not the end. It will come. So, Mr. Speaker, my conclusion is this. Nobody will be allowed to take this house for granted. And I want to remind you, read Article 1. Why did the framers of the current constitution equate representation to sovereignty? Don't allow that to go away in the thin air. Stand firm for your right. CDF must exist. That road must come back. And GAV must exist. That road money must come back for the management of the Member of Parliament. They have enough to do it, and we will not continue to entrench corruption, wastage of resources, abuse of office, and all the other evils in this broad daylight. Stand firm to be counted by your conscience. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kainan, the only thing is that when you say that you are the father of this house, and yours truly, who was here when you were still in the university, you want to call me a grandfather? Unless you want to call me a grandfather. Okay. Yes, what's the point of point? There's when, and then I'll come to you.
Mr. Speaker, I think the question by the Honorable Jared was answered by the Honorable Osoro that there is an ADR tomorrow morning between the parties, and there is a ruling, or there is the parties, they are going to meet for a ruling on Thursday. And that is in order, Mr. Speaker. The senior Kainan has spoken about it. Am I in order, Mr. Speaker, that now we come back to the business, because there is nothing to debate more than that. Already we have been told that tomorrow there is an ADR.
Fair enough. I think enough. 1 minute only, 1 minute. And then we proceed on to the next. Yeah.
Honorable Speaker, I think we are taking these matters lightly, and therefore the governors are taking us lightly. Everyone knows in this republic, governors handle a lot of money, Honorable Speaker, and nothing happens. In my own county of Bungoma, we get about 14 billion from the exchequer, own revenue about 2 billion. That is about 16 billion. Honorable Speaker, in a county with 9 constituencies only, you can hardly see a project that goes beyond 10 million, Honorable Speaker. That must go on record. Honorable Speaker, that governors have gone behind our backs and discussed with the judiciary, and they have pulled out of negotiations with us, and that the judiciary is going to give its ruling on Thursday. Honorable Speaker, we must do something punitive to the governors. We must fire a shot to the governors. Honorable Speaker, we must not wait for governors to find us flat-footed, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, beyond this, I will urge honorable members that we need a Kamkunji tomorrow morning. We need a Kamkunji. We can no longer appropriate funds for them, first to go and loot, and then come and want more and more and more funds to loot. We cannot give them money to go and bribe their way to want to take everything from GAF, from CDF, from roads. Honorable Speaker, it is not going to be business as usual. Most of these governors are just thieves. There is nothing that they are doing with the monies that we appropriate for them. We have students who are suffering at their homes. We have schools, Honorable Speaker, that do not have anything from the counties. We are supposed to have roads. Even as we speak now, there are roads that are meant for governors to do. They are not doing these roads. They are leaving the roads for us as MPs to do them. Why are they demanding more money? So that they can continue looting? We say no. We demand a Kamkunji so that we can take a very punitive approach. Kama ni vita, sisi wote ni wanasiasa na tunaweza pigana.
Thank you. We will have to go to the next. I think we have. No, it's a weighty matter. DK, what exactly do you want to say? I mean, it's already been ventilated enough.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Take no more
The
than a
fact
minute.
that I'm also in the mediation committee, we want to state categorically, power lies in this house. What we do with that power is what makes some people outside there to love on us. Let us exercise it this time. If at all they are not going to come for the mediation, I dare say, us as this house, we start with the division of revenue bill. And that is why they will know there are men and women in this house who can actually act as per the Constitution. And the Constitution says clearly, the legislators in this house are the only ones who can appropriate money to anybody. Thank you.
The Honorable Attendee, the chair of the Budget Committee, I had asked you initially if you...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I had some information which I would have loved to share. But in view of the impending court ruling, I'm afraid I will not be able to share it with the members. But I just want to say that there are very, very good consultations going on involving the Ministry of Roads, involving Parliament, and even the highest office in the land. And I'm very optimistic that shortly we are going to have a solution, which is going to be helpful for members. Of course, we are determined to ensure that all the resources that are stuck are disbursed to the constituency so that the roads projects are completed. Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to persuade members that Division of Revenue Bill is a precursor for passage of supplementary estimates. So there will be no budget before we pass the Division of Revenue Bill. So let us be tolerant. Governors are very responsive. They are cooperating with us, even as we engage. So if we threaten that we will not pass Division of Revenue Bill, it means there will be no budget in the first place. So I know these are very, very weighty matters, and they are matters that touch at the heart of most of our colleagues. But let us just embrace dialogue. I know that very soon we are going to have a solution on both of those issues. So for Division of Revenue Bill, you know that we are going for mediation. Let us approach mediation with an open heart. Let us engage our colleagues in the Senate so that we can be able to move these processes forward. Otherwise, I want to persuade members that from our last meeting towards resolving this issue, there is sufficient goodwill. And I am sure that members will be very happy shortly. Whether the court case goes against us or for us, I think we are going to have a solution.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
We will have to go back to... Let's go to the substantive business here, or rather the business on the order paper. Now we are having responses on statements that were sought. And this one is on the status of the construction of Lunga Lunga Sub-County Headquarters. Honorable Katana of MP for Kaloleni, are you in the house? Is MP for Kaloleni in the house? I know Chief Romondo is not in the house, who is Chief Romondo, who was the person who sought this response. Now we go to the next one. What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, last week the substantive speaker did make a directive that where a member has asked a question and has not asked for it to be deferred, and the chairman, the relevant chairman is present, he should not be asked to defer. He should just table the answer on record and proceed. He doesn't have to wait.
I think there's a communication from Honorable Chief Ramodo in this case, and in which he sought Honorable Katana, MP for Kaloleni, to be present on his behalf. But now that Honorable is not in, then we'll have to defer this. Let's be fair to him. Chair, would you wish to? But you are going to be follow up with the call of clarification sought. And it's only fair that you either have, because he's already made a communication that he will not be around himself.
True, Honorable Speaker. And he did actually assign a colleague too. But at the same time, Honorable Speaker, actually I don't have the response ready.
Okay.
But I've been promised by the ministry that it could be possibly ready by tomorrow.
Fair enough. Then we defer this to a date when the response is up. Next question is the Honorable Wanjiru Mutonga, mother of the Honorable Samuel Gachobe, MP for Subukia. Proceed. He sought also a response on the murder of Mrs. Wanjiru Mutonga and the rise of insecurity in Subukia constituency.
Yeah, I have the response, Honorable Speaker, ready. Honorable Speaker, and this is the statement being sought by Honorable Member for Subukia constituency.
Is the person who raised his hand up there, the
It's the House.
Gachobe? Okay, fair enough.
Confirm,
You're a bit too fun. I'm a little bit short-sighted. I'm unable to.
Yeah, Honorable Samuel Gachobe. And Honorable Speaker, that is in regards to the murder of one Wanjiru Nganga Mutunga and the general rise of insecurity in Subukia constituency. And in particular, Honorable Speaker, the member wanted to know, one, step being taken to ensure thorough and expeditious investigation into the circumstances surrounding the disappearance and the murder of Wanjiru, that is Shiro, and the swift apprehension and prosecution of perpetrators of a murder. Two, the strategies being deployed to guarantee safety and insecurity of residents in Nakusi, Baraka, Limuru, and Kiborojo town in Subukia constituency and the surrounding areas, and in light of the prevailing fear of potential attacks. And I want to state as follows, Honorable Speaker. On 18th April, at around 9 p.m., Esther Njiru reported the disappearance of her daughter, Nganga, at Kiborojo Police Station, VIDE OB number 0618-0425. She indicated that Wanjiru did not return home on previous day from the garage where she was on industrial attachment. Later that day, at around 10, a report of a dead body found within the Kanga area of Limuru farm was made at the station via OB number 0818-0425. The police officers from the Kiboronjo police station, together with the officers from DCI Subukia, visited the scene in a company of Estanjeri. The latter possibly identified the body as that of her daughter, and the scene was processed by DCI crime scene investigation officers, and all matters of evidential value were documented. The body was moved to Nyahururu Hospital mortuary for preservation, awaiting postmortem examination. The investigations were immediately commenced, and a police case file, Reverend number 7023 of January 2025, opened. Statements from several witnesses were recorded to aid in the inquiry. And on April 22nd, a postmortem examination was conducted by one Dr. David Komen at Nyahururu Hospital mortuary, witnessed by the deceased father, Mr. Patrick Nganga. The pathologist found all body parts intact and in normal condition. According to his expert opinion, the body cause of death was asphyxiation. Investigations are still ongoing, with efforts intensified to identify the perpetrators. Honorable Speaker, in regards to the strategies being deployed to guarantee safety in the area, the government is undertaking following measures to guarantee safety and the security to residents of Akusi, Baraka, Limuru, Kiborojo town in Subukia constituency. The increased police mobile and foot patrol. The Nairobi Police Service has circulated the Fichua kwa DCI toll number 0800-722-203 and encourage the Kenyans to report and share intelligence anonymously, guaranteeing confidentiality and safety of the whistleblowers, and the fertilization of community policing committees to strengthen collaboration between the police and the local communities to promote real-time information sharing and enable the quick response to suspicious activities, including potential threats to the public safety. And signed and submitted by Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, the CS Interior. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Gashobe, you have. a clarification you're seeking in this?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I wish to thank the chair for the response, but I feel I'm not satisfied with the response because he continues saying that investigations are ongoing. Mr. Speaker, sir, where the lady used to work is 500 meters from the police station, and the people around that area have not been interrogated. Mr. Speaker, sir, the said incident where it happened is not far from the police station. The question we are asking ourselves is that residents and family members, and including I, have shared the names, the numbers of the suspects, and nobody has been arrested. What I expected from the chair, he was to tell us how many suspects have already been arrested. If the information of the peripheries tells us that those people who did whatever they did comes from the area, we would have been told a certain number have already been arrested, interrogated. If they were innocent, they would have been released. But up to now, nothing has been done, Chair. The police tells us they have circulated police hostile numbers. I want to tell this House, Mr. Speaker, sir, there are people who have shared the information. I have dispatched the information, including the numbers, but nobody has been arrested. And therefore, I find it not satisfying. And I don't think I will accept this answer.
Fair enough, you made your point very well.
Number two, Mr. Speaker, they are telling us that they are going to intensify patrols. The said police station, after finding out, it's good to note that it has less than 10 police officers who cannot be able to cope the area. The area is a bit vast, and therefore telling us that they are going to intensify the patrol, I find it very difficult. What I have heard from the chair is that they are doing all efforts to add more police officers so that they can be able to intensify the patrol. Number two, the said station has no patrol vehicle, which makes it very difficult to patrol the area. And therefore, Chair, I will plead with the Chair for an additional information because I felt what was presented here not satisfying. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Martha Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for indulging me to ride on this statement by my counterpart from Subukia. And Mr. Speaker, the issues Honorable Gashofe has raised are widely Nakuru issues. Just yesterday, a gang actually killed a police officer. Just last week, we had a child that was literally butchered in Barnabas. The issue of security in Nakuru is getting out of hand. We do not have enough policemen. We do not have even motorcycles. The station at Pakawa, which is shared between myself and Honorable Gikaria and Honorable Njoki in Bahati, has no single motorcycle, not a vehicle, and gangs are roaming day and night, Mr. Speaker. So I would wish that the CS Interior, through the chair of the committee here, takes very serious cognizance of the issues happening in Nakuru, and that killing of that police officer should be a wake-up call to what is happening, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minority Whip. Yes, your point of order? Or point of information, you said? Okay. What's your point?
Just sorry, call it point of clarification. I know the standing orders are sometimes misleading. Mr. Speaker, taking into account the seriousness of this issue, considering the answer given by the chair, taking into account the limitations by chairs of committees in getting proper, responsive answers, will I be right to suggest to the Honorable Samuel and other affected members to file a petition through this House, have it referred to the committee, allow for public engagement, so that in that process, the committee will be in a position to write a report that will reflect on the evidence on the ground, so that this House gets also an opportunity to get an answer that befits the situation that we are describing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Miri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, my concern is that there is an alarming rise in cases of femicide. Many, many young girls are being found dead. Just I think last week, 2 girls in Siaya were found dead. One a school student who was called up, God knows by who, and then she was found raped and murdered. Mr. Speaker, I know the President has tried and given some money towards sensitization. But Mr. Speaker, when the security agencies are very minded in finding the culprits, they act fast. Mr. Speaker, would I be in order to ask that they prioritize the issue of gender-based violence? We are losing a lot of our young girls. And so that when you have such cases, in the same way that we are moving with a lot of speed over other crimes, we should move with the same speed to arrest the culprits. Otherwise, they will continue murdering girls because they know they can get away with it. Thank you.
Honorable members and Honorable Dr. Makali, what exactly do you want to raise?
Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. I just wanted to write on the issue raised by the 2 honorable members, and this is the issue of security in most of our areas, Honorable Speaker. You know, Honorable Gachobe has said something which also touched my issue. He says he has given the police even the numbers of the people suspected to have committed this criminal act. Honorable Speaker, this has become very common, Honorable Speaker, that even where we come from, you give information to the police in confidence, but nothing happens. While we appreciate the limitations with our chair, because it's our colleague, I think, Honorable Speaker, it's important. I don't know whether other than a petition, I think a question could be better so that we get the CS coming to this House to respond to some of our issues. Because I think generally it looks like there's a problem with the security issues in this country. And unless we address them early enough, Honorable Speaker,
fair enough.
We are likely to face serious challenges.
You made your point. Honorable Kenan, and for the benefit of the members of Parliament, you don't have to have a petition for the committee to do exhaustive investigation, to invite members of Parliament, to invite minister, to invite anybody. So I think the Honorable Tongoyo, are you hearing me? I was trying to get Momuse to leave your side of the House so that it doesn't, somebody else has come now to. Kiborek.
Honorable Speaker, as right by one, I want really to...
My position is this.
Yes.
You don't have to have, there doesn't have to be a petition for you
No, I agree. I'm in agreement.
To investigate this.
What I'm saying, Honorable Speaker,
yes,
maybe before I respond to, or I also add my voice on that, for my colleague, I really share in the frustration. But it's good, Honorable Speaker, we will appreciate the complicity in these crimey things. They come in different ways. The majority of these perpetrators are expert. They kind of conceal their footprints. But what I want to suggest, Honorable Speaker, as it is for now, we have more than 10 list of statements being sought from different members in this House. And of late, we kind of the opinion that we may call the CS to appear before the committee because we can be able to have an interactive. And all those members probably who are not satisfied or who even we could list as having statements that need more engagement, we can able to give them to appear before the committee and the CS so that we can able to have a more robust interrogation. So that is what my suggestion, Honorable Speaker, need you indulgence on them on the same.
Done sufficient ventilation on this matter, and the chair will do the needful. So let's go to the next one. The next one is the response is education. Is the chair of education around? Is the chair of education around? No. What about the questioner, Honorable David Kiblagat? Honorable David Kiblagat.
Yes,
DK.
Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, the chair is not around, so what happens?
No, I take it with a pinch of salt.
Okay, it's okay.
Honorable Speaker, kindly hear me out.
Yes.
When I gave this request for a statement,
yes,
and the prelude response from the chair was a bit encouraging that time, and the Speaker ordered that when we come from recess, on the first day we come from recess, he will be able to respond to this statement. Now, this is the second week after recess. I've been sitting here purposely to wait for that statement. But now, the reason I'm saying I'm taking it with a pinch of salt is that it seems the chair is not taking my statement seriously. And may I do the imagery of why actually this statement is very clear? Is that I have a teacher in Bwai Primary School. He is 50 years old. He has a TAC number. He has never been employed. And he's just now 10 years to retirement. What makes it worse, he was telling me that last year, another teacher, may I explain so that we understand? Another teacher who is about 24 years old was employed, I don't know to say how, and he has been waiting patiently for 50 years. And when he went that day to sleep, he found himself waking up at 3 a.m. and he cried until his wife told him what is wrong. And he said, how unjust can this society be? So I wish the chair takes that statement very seriously and be able to make sure that they can do the affirmative action so that we have all the teachers who are 45 years and above being employed, watoe jam, so that we can employ the young ones. That's all.
What's your point of information, Honorable? Yeah, you wish to be informed. But in any case, it was on a point of order, so you cannot have a point of information on a point of order.
So maybe I can finalize. I wanted to beseech
No, but
the
he
chair.
wants to inform the House something, and the chair has given him.
I think he has given up.
Yeah, no, he has not given up.
Mr. Speaker, if Honorable Kiblagat accepts, he's aware today there's a change of leadership at the TSC. I am not in any way trying to advocate or talk about the absence or the presence of the Honorable Meli. But today, there's a change of leadership at TSC. The long-serving Commission Secretary, the Honorable Nancy Macharia, has exited today and passed the baton to Evelyn Mitei. Because of the change and taking into account the environment, I'm sure the Honorable Meli, as an astute, good former teacher, is somewhere in that environment trying to make sure that the transition from that good former CEO, Nancy Macharia, I'll say good former CEO, to the new CEO takes place, acting CEO, takes place in a friendly, conducive, legally driven, people-friendly, TSC-oriented, teachers-placed, so that teachers all over can
you made your point.
benefit.
You made your point. The Honorable DK, I direct that this matter be put on the order paper tomorrow. And I'm sure Honorable Mary will understand the urgency and the need and the seriousness of the chair on that matter. Because if he was told that he has to have it on the first day the Parliament resumes, and this is the second week, we appreciate that he might be involved in something fairly significant in the teaching fraternity in this country, but nonetheless, he should have the answer tomorrow. Next response is extension of the national power grid from Garissa to Wajir and Mandera counties in northeastern region, northeastern province of Kenya. The Honorable Adam Kenan and the energy, where is the chair of energy? The chair of energy, yes.
I'm here, Honorable
Proceed.
Speaker.
You have the response?
Honorable Speaker, my apologies. We as a committee, I think we also need to take action against the PS who was supposed to have given us this response. And now for the second time again, I don't have. And I wish to plead with the Member of Parliament to give us additional 1 week, and then we can be able to, for both. That is order number under 4 and 5.
And for the response sought by the Honorable Tom Mboya, MP for Nyatike?
Yes, also.
And this other one?
I also don't have it.
Are you okay with that, Honorable Kenan, next week?
Mr. Speaker, you know we have waited for 63 years.
Yes.
63 years without connection to the national grid. So waiting for 7 more days is not far-fetched.
It's not a big deal.
The 7 days will come. You can count, Mr. Speaker.
Fair enough, Honorable.
But Mr. Speaker, let me say this. I want to qualify something. Having watched the performance of the different heads of state departments, the PSs, I want to confirm that Honorable Alex Wachira is one of the best performing PSs, and I know under his watch, that region will be connected to the national grid. So as we wait for the answer, I do not want to preempt. I hope and pray that next week, we have waited for 63 years, 7 days, it's not long.
Fair enough. I direct that this be put on the order paper exactly 1 week from today.
But please, Mr. Speaker, as he does that, let me put this rider. And you also come from that region. You understand this. And I know you are not prejudiced. Chairman, under your leadership, and you have chaired the same energy committee in the last parliament. By the grace of God, 2.5 years down the line, you are brought back as the chair, and there must be a reason that has informed. Can you also take it upon yourself that this region called Northern Kenya, which comprises of 70% of the landmass of the Republic of Kenya, is not connected to the national grid, and that should not be considered as a national shame. National shame.
You've made your point, Honorable
Bring
Chair.
that answer.
Are you
Thank
willing
you,
to give that undertaking now or at another date? I think that you can give now. Give the Honorable Chair of Energy Department the...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mike.
I totally want to agree with Honorable Kenan.
That you give an undertaking?
Yes, I give an undertaking. By next week, I'll have that. And I
No,
want
no. You haven't had his question. He says, can you give an undertaking that under your watch?
Yes, that's where
that
I'm
the
headed
North
to.
is going to be connected to the national grid.
That's why I'm headed to Honorable Speaker.
Great.
That we will be the commitment by this government to be able to
Good
take
to hear that.
the Northeastern under national grid.
Both
will be done.
what they call responses 4 and 5 are deferred to next week. The same day today, on an afternoon, on Tuesday afternoon next week. Then the other one is health. Is the chair of health around? Where is he? Seme MP. Okay, these are the challenges faced by teachers and police officers in accessing medical services under medical insurance. This was sought by the Honorable Muchangi Karembo, MP for Runyenjes. Is he around? I know, has he given communication on... Let's give the Honorable Karemba MP for Runyenjes the benefit of doubt, because for 3 good days, along with me and the Honorable Chair for JLAC, the Honorable Murugara, we've been holed up somewhere. We were all extremely tired, so I don't know where he is. So this is also deferred to the same day next week. I have to get to labor first before you can rise yourself. Wait. So the matter on Honorable MP for Seme, Professor Nyikal, the one and only, this response has to be ready on Tuesday next week, afternoon. Yes, the other one is MP Joseph Tonui, MP for Kurisai South, is he around? Is the chair of housing planning and urban development, urban public works? Huh? The vice chair is around.
Mr. Speaker, I have the response, but I think
he's not around.
The member is not allowed.
Order, Honorable Vice Chair. Order. The questioner is not, the person who sought the response, the Honorable Joseph Tony, MP for Kurusoi, is not in the House, in the chambers, and he has not delegated that responsibility to anybody else to have to ask what you call follow-up questions. And we'll also give him the benefit of doubt. We don't know what has happened to him. I directed this question be put on the order paper again on Tuesday next week in the afternoon. Please.
Most obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable is the chair for lands in the House. The chair for lands. Sorry. The chair for labor. Is he around? Is he in the House? The chair for labor. The chair for labor. Honorable Mule, why don't you shout and say yes? You have a mic in front of you. And he's a member of parliament for Nandi County, Honorable Cynthia Muge, also in the House. Madam Cynthia Muge. I also direct this question also to be deferred to next week.
Thank you.
On Tuesday afternoon.
Thank you, Speaker, Honorable Speaker.
I believe let's just be fair to them. And then we have lands. Who is there? Is the chair for lands are in the House? The chair for lands. Osotsi, who is that? Can you take the mic next to you? Is that the Honorable Machawa Idaka? Are you the chair of lands?
Honorable Speaker, I'm the chair for lands.
And the Honorable Machau Waidaka, MP for Kiambu?
Is not around, but I want to confirm to the Honorable House that this statement was answered to on 5th of December 2024. So it's appearing for the second time. I don't know how it came about.
Fair enough. This has got to be expunged now because it has already been dealt with before. Am I right? This matter has been addressed. And the last one is the Honorable Faisal Bada, MP from Sambweni. And the chair for lands, are you in possession of the answer for Honorable Faisal Bada?
Yeah, we'll request for 7 more days. The response to the statement is not ready.
I saw direct that this question be put on the order paper on Wednesday after, well, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday afternoon next week. Now we go back to the old order. We're going back to order number 14.
Order number 14, motion, ratification of the agreement on fisheries subsidies.
Martha.
Thank you. Blue. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee of Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation and its consideration on the agreement of fisheries subsidies laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 17 April 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8.4 of Treaty Making and Ratification Act, Cap 4D, approves the ratification agreement of fisheries subsidies. Honorable Speaker, the agreement on fisheries subsidies was adopted at the 12th WTO Ministerial Conference in Marrakesh, Morocco in June 2022. The agreement's main objective is to promote a sustainable fishing by curbing harmful subsidies, protecting marine resources, and ensuring fairness in global fisheries trade. Honorable Speaker, Article 2, Sub-Article 5 of our Constitution, 2010, provides that the general rules of international law shall form part of the laws of Kenya. And Article 2.6 further states that any treaty or convention ratified by Kenya shall form part of the laws of Kenya under this constitution. Mr. Speaker, the agreement seeks to balance the livelihood of fishing. The agreement incorporates a special and differential treatment provisions, offering flexibility and extended implementation timelines for developing and least developed countries. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, allow me to highlight to members what the treaty is all about. This fishery subsidies, Honorable Speaker, it has several articles. Article 1 of the treaty, Madam Speaker, specifies that the disciplines apply only to marine wild capture, fishing, and fishing-related activities at the sea. Thus, the agreement covers activities such as the onboard processing and transshipping of catch, but excludes the onshore pre- and post-harvest activities such as packaging and processing. The Article 3 of this treaty, Honorable Speaker, prohibits the WTO members from granting subsidies to vessels or operators found to have engaged in illegal and unregulated fishing. This provision is activated upon determination by the coastal state, the flag state, or relevant regional fisheries management organization, or that kind of arrangement. Madam Speaker, the agreement also establishes an institutional arrangement for monitoring implementation. And Article 9 of this treaty creates a committee composed of representatives from each member state. The committee will meet biannually to oversee the operations of the agreement and to review information provided by members at least every 2 years. Madam Speaker, the committee noted that upon ratification, the Kenya would be required to align its laws, the regulation, and the administrative procedures with the agreement. And this includes providing a description of its fisheries regime, citing relevant national laws and procedures within 1 year of the agreement entry into force, and promptly notifying the WTO of any subsequent changes. Madam Speaker, the committee further observed that the Kenya must regularly notify the WTO fisheries subsidies to facilitate surveillance of implementation, effective stock assessment, and the related programs will be key to fulfilling this obligation. Additionally, Madam Speaker, the committee noted that the agreement does not allow the state parties to enter reservations. However, Article 9, Sub-Article 4 of this treaty provides for a comprehensive review after 5 years. This one, Madam Speaker, so that if there is some reservation from a country, after every 5 years, they meet so that they can review. These reviews could result into the amendment based on a practical implementation experience. So, Madam Speaker, this is a treaty for fisheries. And Kenya, Madam Speaker, and especially in this new sector, which is a new economic front, Madam Speaker, we are still new in blue economy. Many countries, they have gone ahead for many years. Many of their revenues they have been getting through fishing. And Madam Speaker, this is a subsidy treaty where countries sign to make sure that the fishing in their countries either those who are coming in to fish in our country or even those who have the capacity to do a deep sea fishing, Madam Speaker, they are regulated. And then it provides also some subsidies so that as a country, if we have to tap our resources in the deep sea, we have some subsidies for those who want to invest, maybe in terms of taxation and such things or such subsidies, Madam Speaker. So this is just a regulatory treaty, and it has been signed by many countries, especially the countries which are bordering the Indian Ocean and many other coastal lines, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, that is just the input of this, why we need to ratify this treaty as a country, as provided for under our Constitution, Article 2, Sub-Article 6 of the Constitution. And, Madam Speaker, I want to express my sincere gratitude to the members of the committee, because we sat when we received this treaty, we carried out a public participation with the stakeholders. They came, the Attorney General office, which they had to tell us what is the implication of this treaty from the legal perspective. How is it going to affect our existing laws? And they appeared before us because we already have some other laws, like the Kenya Fisheries Act of 2016. We have also the Tuna Commission, which we have signed as a country. So the Attorney General, were in their submission, told us that signing this treaty is going to improve our fishing, and it's not going in any way conflict with our existing laws. We had also a meeting with the Foreign Affairs, Madam Speaker, because this one also touches to many countries. We had there was also the Ministry of Trade, because there is also an input of trade in this treaty. They appeared before us, they gave us their submission, and all of them, they were in agreement. And therefore, Madam Speaker, it's a duty of this House to approve this treaty so that Kenya can benefit from this treaty. So I want to appreciate my colleagues, the members of the Blue Economy and Water and Irrigation who participated, and we worked out together to have this report. I also want to thank my clerks. The clerks attached to the committee, Madam Speaker, they supported us in the drafts of this motion, and also they were with us throughout